mentioned a few weeks ago you kind of hoping to stay a bit under the radar, but people are starting to notice that you've been winning a few games now. So how does that feel?
I don't think we never wanted to be under the radar. I think it was. I think everybody's always pushed that. Oh, they'll fall next week. They'll fall next week. They'll fall next week. And for a number of years when you've been here, it's not. I've always thought we were a good side. And that's just my job. I mean, but I think we've just a couple of things are starting to come together. The time and effort they put into it got us to a place where we're nice and solid. Plus, 2 or 3 better quality recruits have added to the team. Actually, I think those lads have gone under the radar as well. Those like I said, there's only really ourselves and anybody that knew anything about the game that knew that Corey Thompson was going to be a good player. I mean, Chris Houston was a good player coming in and just had a little bit of a quiet year, so it's not something that we don't know is going to happen. Plus, one of those strange things for the last 2 or 3 years, I've started okay, but we've always started with getting some injuries and bangs and bumps in those first few weeks. And the squad being what it was in those days, and even now, our squad's still not got lots and lots of depth. It's hard to cope when you get some injuries to key personnel. This year we've been pretty fortunate, and I think that's one of the keys where you can stay relatively healthy, then you can always put yourself into a decent position. And we've been a good side. We've just been a little bit unlucky. And like I say, there was 2 or 3 moments last year anyway that followed. Like I say, if you reflect deeply enough on last year, it was like 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there. It wasn't like it was a bad year. The Super 8s were just a bit anxious for us, that's all, because of what they were.
The great thing about the other night was you've won by 14 points, which is a handy win in anyone's terms, but I think you felt that you didn't really quite hit your best form.
I know. We played when you reflect on it, when you review the game, we defend really well for those first 5 or 6 minutes. We go nearly 10 minutes without touching the ball. That's a credit to OKR and the way they finished their sets when they got us in some good position. We made a couple of errors and some decisions, and they eventually broke us down just through maybe a little bit of fatigue around a couple of players, and then being big and strong, and they fell over the line. But we handled that really well. We responded on the back of that and got 2 tries to put us in a strong position. And then, like I say, another mistake, probably a little bit of fatigue, makes it into a tighter looking game than it is for about 10-15 minutes. But the quality that we've got when we go ahead and we go away from them in that first half was pretty good. And I think the scoring straight away in the second half gave us a little bit of breathing space, but also we probably took our foot off the gas a little bit. The two things that have been driving into the team is a little bit like our composure when we're in certain parts of the field, and our accuracy in what we're trying to achieve. So, and that accuracy is not just in simple skills, it's just about an understanding of what's needed and when. I thought the accuracy of us was a little bit lax in the second half. And that's what disappointed. And then the players came in and felt that as well. And that's, like I said, that's the nice thing about it, is that we've beat a big, strong side. And we always seem to struggle against OKR's forwards. I don't know, maybe it's just that having some lads that are that little bit more gifted in height, should I say, than some of our fellas. But we always seem to struggle a little bit with the OKR pack. And they came hard and they played pretty tough. But I thought overall we did some really good stuff.
You let them out of the 20 a couple of times with penalties, didn't you, when it looked like you had them pinned? And I think you've had an issue in 1 or 2 other games with letting teams upstream with penalties. Is that something you can address, or is it?
I think it's harsh, because, and I'll say here now as well, I don't really know what the penalties are for. I've been through that. I've been through every single penalty we can see this year. Some of them I can see, but there's a number of penalties. There's no consistency in them. I'm not really sure. I can't go to lads if I don't know, because I'm sure they're the same. We're not doing a lot wrong. There's 2 or 3 of the penalties where I just don't know why the penalties. I think they're just holding a finger in the air and guessing. I think at one stage I can actually hear the referee counting to himself, so he might just be doing it. So they're the tough ones, and I'm not here to address certain issues. Like I say, if I feel that there's something that we need to look at, then we will look at it, and there are always going to be things in the game and throughout the year which we're always looking to tidy up, or we're looking to make a little bit better. Well, that penalty situation at the moment is, I can't tell you what we need to do better, because I'm not really sure. That's which is a pretty difficult place to be, really.
In terms of try scoring, it was the right hand side of your attack that did all the damage, wasn't it, against Hull KR? I think people last year were thinking Widnes favoured the left with Kev over there, but now you look potent on both sides.
I think we always favoured our left a little bit because that was just some of our strongest players on that edge again. But last year we probably scored a few more tries on our left edge, but our right edge was strong as well because both my half swing from either side. Kev doesn't not want to be tied into a position, so he doesn't sit on one side of the field. But what we saw on the weekend, again, I think it's through Chris Bridges' influence, Joe Mellor's confidence growing in his own ability. Chris Dean had a fantastic game, and and Corey demands the ball. He wants the ball. He lets people know inside that he wants the ball. I think that's what we've got now, is a little bit line of communication, a little bit more demanding players on that edge, and that's helping both Joe and Kev, because we've got threats on both edges now. And I thought, although Joe Mellor was outstanding on the weekend, some of his talk, some of his control, I thought it was helped in a massive way from all those other people on the edge. I thought Chris Dean was particularly good. A couple of assisting passes, looked really strong into the line and post and pre-line with his play. And Chris Bridges has been what we want him to be when he came here. He's a threat.
Is he back to Hep Cahill now with the drop goals?
Yeah, I think the decision-making element wasn't poor. It was to put us, like I say, to put us 3 scores ahead. I think it was his execution, and I'd like to say that we're not really driving it into him, but there's another 12 blokes there that have sort of got it in their mind to let him know exactly what they thought about his attempted drop goals. I think Kev might throw his leg at about 10 of those, but if he puts 2 over and wins his games, then they'll be worth it.
A couple of players limped off, Dennis, didn't they? Runciman didn't look too bad. Is he all right? And what about...
too early to say again at the moment. We're monitoring those players. The short turnaround is that, you could leave them for another 2 days if we were playing on a 7-day turnaround. But we're not far off finding out either later today or tomorrow whether they'll be up for selection. Charlie's still in the mix. Conor Farrell's probably going to be about 4 or 5 months, if I'm honest, which is a bit of a blow to us. He goes in to have surgery today,
Right.
and until he goes to I was going to say the dentist, until the doctor goes in, we won't know exactly what state his knee's in. I think we think it's some cartilage damage, so it could be a little bit worse.
Panama didn't play on Friday, Dennis. What's up with him?
It's just tight hamstring. He was just tight in his back, and it was a good call from that. He knows his body. He knows that the situation is that he gets out there and he's 10 minutes in and we're losing, then it's not good for us. And plus also we've got a pretty tough run coming up, so he needs to put himself in a position where he's healthy enough to be able to contribute over the next month.
Right. But he's likely to be up for selection this week.
Yeah,
he's
in the selection. They're both up for selection as well, so Gerard and Arvan are back in the mix. Mm-hmm. That's one of those. It's a bizarre situation to be in when you looked at OK on the weekend and we still had 5 blokes and probably had a chance of making our starting team sat in the stands as well, and there's no problems with injuries here.
Hull this week started off like a house on fire, didn't they? But they've lost the last 2 games at home, and narrowly, albeit. Very, very strong forward back there.
They say you're looking at 2 of the results, and they're just not unfortunate. They've been 2 tough games. I thought they were pretty good against Wigan actually, because they got behind by a few scores, but they showed a lot of resilience and worked really hard to get themselves back in the game, to get themselves back in the lead, and then it was just a typical Wigan tough, not giving in kind of mentality that got them through that game. It was a pretty tough game, and could have gone either way. So it's not one way you'd look at it and think, this is where we need to play against them. They're a very, very physical side. I thought Casford played exceptionally well against them, and there was a chance where at one stage I thought once they got a grip on the game, I thought they were going to walk away with it against Cass. But Cass played that well and did some real good stuff that got them a strong win in the end. But when you look at Hull's games throughout the year, they're a good side. You look across their team, there's threats everywhere, there's experience everywhere. I'm not sure if Pritchard will come and play here. He didn't play last game. I'm not sure why. But like I say, in Minicello, they've got one of the form back rowers in the competition for last year or so. Gareth Eltis back playing well. Sikamana, who's a fantastic international back rower. Watts, Taylor were very, very hard to handle on. Houghton's is what Houghton is. He's the heartbeat of that team and he's playing really well. So through their pack, like I say, without even sticking Thompson and Frank the Tank in there, then it's pretty formidable pack. And I think Tumavavi's just finding his feet. Talanoa on the edge is good, and Shaw's an exciting full back. So it's a pretty formidable group of players that they're going to bring here. And it's exciting when you talk to our players about it. They're excited by that challenge now. So we've got through to this point of the year and we know they're going to play one of the better sides, even with some 2 narrow losses. One of the better sides in the competition this year coming here on Thursday night.